What up, what up, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Devinwade Show. I am your host, DevNasty, aka Dangerous DevNasty, aka Choke Your Mom Out, aka Choke Your Pop Out.
Bomb.
And yeah, because there's no bomb right there. And today everything looks a little bit different. We had a different day, different time, all of that stuff. We just wanted to get an episode out to y'all super quick, super fast. So we're actually going to be doing our visual and putting it out immediately. Hopefully y'all getting this, on Friday night, November the 20th?
Yes, it is.
We're going to try to get this out as soon as possible, and because we just had two big things happen in the culture.
Special.
You know what I'm saying? We had Jeezy versus Gucci, huge versus battle, and we're also going to be talking about the Fresh Prince of BEL-AIR reunion and how dope that is. Of course, to the left of me, we have none other than the Thurman Street pumper himself, Porno Porter, a.k.a. Pyrex Porter, a.k.a. Panamera Porter.
Popular Porter.
Yeah.
Panzerotti Porter.
Yeah.
Porter Rich.
I love Panzerottis. Peace. World, what up, man? Pyrex Porters definitely sounds about right today. Shout out to Jeezy. Shout out to Gucci. Trap Gods doing their thing last night, man.
And of course, to his left, we have the fashionista herself, you know what I'm saying? On a chill day. I don't know what that shirt is. It probably costs $1 million. I don't know.
Actually, this is Isabel Marant. This is my shit.
Oh, yeah,
I got my Bottegas on today. This is casual wear.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And that is Wally Water Kingdom, a.k.a. Waleska D.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And she's always in conjunction with our own DJ, Chelsea Lee, who is also known as Horny Park. Chelsea Lee, on 3. Can we get a motherfucking moan? 3. Oh, no. I did that again. I don't do that.
Are you counting down or up?
I always do that. 1, 2, 3. It actually sounded more 3D because she's like right to the right of me this time, and I got in the headphones.
And it was like a little extra at the end, like a little extra, like
It's a little bit long.
It was like an extra ad lib because we know Jeezy is the king of ad libs. You know what I'm saying? That made him.
Yeah. She threw something. That was her Jeezy edition. Yeah, ad lib.
Yeah, but we got a lot to unpack. You know what I'm saying today. So.
Facts.
We wanted to get this right to you because it's actually a serious conversation that kind of like needs to be had like immediately. So this conversation is going to go all over the place, but it's going to stay on the subject. First, I want to talk about, just the verses in general and, how it went. I want to give full disclosure that I am a Jeezy fan. I've been a Jeezy music fan. I wouldn't say immediately, but because it was a resistance to it first. I'm into real like lyrical rappers and shit like that.
Facts.
And when I heard him rap, he had more of a basic rap style. So I was like, man, I don't want to hear that shit. And, mid 2000s, whatever it was when he came out, maybe like 2005 or something like that. It was around that time that I called onto him. I remember being at work, working overnight, and I had a iPod that I bought off the street. Somebody had stole it, obviously, and I bought it off the street, and it was filled with all this music. So just being bored, working at work, I'd just be trying shit.
Right.
And I turned on the Jeezy, just like, I'm tired of listening to Kanye or whatever it was, and I turned that joint on, and it was the joint One Trapper of the Year 4 times in a row. What they give you that? And I was like, and I was sitting there feeling guilty, like, why do I like this? And I was sold when I heard that Trap Star joint.
Yo, when he said One Trapper of the Year 4 times, what they get? Listen, I thought I was a trap star, like low key. That's what it make you feel like. We want to talk about all the dangers and the influence of the music and shit like that because I was
That's
stacking.
what made Wally start dating snowmen.
Here he go. It wasn't all snowmen, but
Yeah, but because the way he talked about it and described it in the music and shit like that, you really like. Plus, I was busting my ass dirty as hell lifting boxes. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like unloading trucks and shit. And this nigga's talking about just like hitting certain like the gear and a button in the car, and then voila, here go them bricks.
Yep.
And he just living his life, and I'm like, man.
It gave you that energy to like push harder. Like when you go to the gym and you want to, I put on like Rick Ross, Jeezy, Styles P. Like that's that kind of music where you just like
zone out.
You put it on, you zone out, and you're like, I'm not a snowman, but in this gym, I'm a fucking snowman.
He ain't give me that energy. He made me lazier. I said, I do not want to lift these boxes no more. I want to get some bricks.
Right.
Like this, I said, this nigga, he's not doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at this nigga like, look at this chain. This nigga's out here doing this while here go them bricks. I'm like, I'm a popular nigga out here. I know a lot of people.
Right.
If I start selling them Jones, I probably have some good customer base. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I was thinking. But I never did that, y'all. I continued to go down the righteous path.
Right.
Thank God.
You never sold drugs?
Never.
I did.
Thank God.
Oh, Jeezy.
Just a couple times.
Young Cheesy. Yeah, you was out here selling?
I was young. No, it's a whole nother story, but I transported some things.
Oh, man. You know, well, thank God that you didn't, because a lot of women, you know what I mean, transporting, get caught up.
Well, I did it like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, I'm done. It's like anything else. You have to know when to bow out gracefully.
Did you? And this is just to throw it out there. I'm not trying to be funny, but this was a lot of lines and rap lines. Did you transport like in a chocha? Because this is a lot
I
of famous.
transported in a backpack from New York
because you
to
said
Philly.
because you know niggas like, hold on, is it really fat? Like they said, or was that?
That was like the famous line for like.
It was in a backpack.
That was like the famous line in raps for like any female transporters. Like she transported it in her chocha.
Yeah.
What are you
absolutely.
transporting in your vagina except for like pills?
Nah, supposedly some females could get the whole chunk.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
not even in there, they would put it in their ass.
Yeah, females.
You would have to like
get
stuff it up. You would actually have to swallow it.
I've seen that and they die.
That's
Some people swallow it, but some they put it in their vaginas for sure.
Yeah.
But
I didn't do that, y'all. It was in a backpack.
That's a whole
in a backpack.
That's a whole different episode.
She said she still thinks she got dope vagina though. She said her vagina is still dope without the dope in it.
Still has
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, bad bitch pussy.
But you know, there was a lot behind this battle. People wanted to I looked at this like this is really some historic shit.
Facts.
And the first thing I thought of was, how are these two men gonna be on the stage together? How are they going to be in a room together? Because I understand the fan interpretation of the beef. Because people always think that we got the story, but we don't know.
Yeah,
you know
we're
what
not
I'm saying?
in it.
Yeah. And for anybody at home that's watching anything through the internet, YouTube, whatever, you don't. I don't care how much research you think you're doing. You don't know.
Never know the
story.
truth.
You don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can only go off of the rumors and the things. So you know that these two guys had a history, and from when I remember when they first came out, the first thing I remember from them was a song with them together.
Icy.
You know what I'm saying?
Icy.
Doing the so icy.
My chain hang down to my dick. That was the best part. Sorry.
See,
Of course you
I didn't even know.
And they thought I would have had a dirty mind for asking about the chocha question. Look,
That was the best part of the song.
That was a dope ass song though.
Listen,
Best
the
part.
first nigga I ever heard say that was Prodigy. So shout out to Prodigy. My chain hang down to my dick. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we thought this is definitely going to be some tension in here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I will say that I believe the negativity that surrounded it led to, I would believe, and this is my opinion, the majority of the views.
Right.
I believe because we know that these guys have the music, they have the fan base. Like I said, I'm personally was a Jeezy fan, not a Gucci fan musically like that. But people turn in because they want to see a car crash in a sense.
They want to see if there's going to be.
Absolutely.
But you know, when Jeezy first gave him the proposal on asking, he declined. Gucci declined. So then they were trying to like put Jeezy and T.I. like they was trying to like, but that would have never really worked out. I mean, it would have been cool for the culture, but that's not really what the people want to see, right?
Yeah,
Because all the verses
I-
are normally positive. I think, like you said, this is
Yeah.
the first
But
one where
I
they
would've-
actually don't like each other.
Yeah, I would
No,
have
they had
thought.
Well,
real-
Brandy
they had-
and
they had-
Monica.
They had real turmoil.
Right, yeah.
But I would have actually thought that Jeezy versus T.I. was my first thought. Like before they ever had it,
Right.
it was like, because they were the dudes that was saying we the trap dudes,
Trap
and
King
that's
and
what
all-
it was.
yeah.
And then of course, T.I. versus him would have been more fair as far as hits.
Right.
Because Gucci has a different type of fucking following.
Right.
He's still Gucci.
Right.
But
Gucci following is more like Southern, man. Gucci is deeper to me. Gucci was deeper like for the South, where Jeezy had more ties to like New York East Coast fan
That's a
base.
fact.
Like out the gate. That's just what it was. Jeezy came out the gate with ties to fucking Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. As soon as he left like the little bad boy shit or whatever.
And Puffy. You gotta figure like even that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right out the gate. So they two different artists. And this is what I was trying to tell people who was quick to say like Jeezy was gonna, you know, because I'm not a crazy, like I'm a fan of both of them, period, overall.
Right.
Because I like them both overall people, who they are and what they stand for and what they've done. But when a lot of people was talking about the music shit in the verses, I didn't actually really like know what was going to happen, because I'm not super in tune with neither one of their music all crazy like that. Even though Jeezy, everybody around me was super in tune to Jeezy because he was for the trap. Like, you know, like I said, more for like East Coast where I'm from. I'm from New Jersey.
East Coast, that shit was big. Philly and Jersey, I could definitely speak on.
Right.
Camden, New Jersey.
Nah,
Jeezy.
like that was,
Jeezy could have been from Camden.
Yeah,
right?
People was playing Jeezy like, I mean, out east, like niggas was out there playing him like he was from the city.
Yeah. He'll get treated like he got thousands of cousins out here if he come out here tomorrow.
Like, listen,
everybody be like, just pull up, nigga.
Yeah. Now that's
Like,
that's
like we
super,
fuck with you heavy.
And don't get it fucked up. Gucci
could do it too.
is super thorough, super trap guy. But just was different with his. He you know, they different with how they do their shit. You see last night, things came out to show that they was different. Gucci mentioned the jewelry. Jeezy mentioned the real estate. You know what I'm saying? They both successful.
But that came later because in the early stages. So let's talk about this verses. But just for some backdrop, there was things that Jeezy had said in the past, and when he was back there before, that was more ignorant statements.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was younger, and there's been a growth in that guy. And let's talk about this verses. The verses starts off, and from the rip, like the tension, we all in group chats. I'm in two different group chats. One with y'all, one with Screwface, and I'm watching. We turn this shit on, and it starts off, and it was like
it was late as hell. Though. Let's confirm the shit didn't start till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so I was waiting
Super
around.
late.
I was waiting around so long.
They was on trap time.
Yeah, they was. It was taking so long that I kind of like walked away from the phone. When I came back, it was a woman speaking to them, and I didn't even catch who it was, but it seemed like it was somebody in government, and
she was the mayor of Atlanta.
Okay,
they were trying to
Keisha
vote.
Bottoms was in the building. That's her name.
That's her
It's
name.
the mayor of Atlanta.
Let me see.
Light
Let's pull
skin,
it
short
up.
hair.
Yeah, just check. You know, you
brown
could
skin, short hair.
Yeah, you could fact check it, but they were speaking on them bringing
Voting.
awareness to people voting and everything like that, and I thought, okay, this is setting a tone to let this know this will be professional. This will be no bullshit or whatever. And I believe someone said
Gucci said,
I didn't even want to put it on
expunge
Gucci.
my record. And she quickly shut it down, was like, yeah, we can talk about that later. But right now, we're going to talk about voting. And she just shut him down and was like, I can't do that myself, but other people can. But we going to talk about that later. Like,
And then they said, let's get to this battle. Then.
Hold on, before anything. So it was the former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams.
What the fuck?
Okay, but I know her. She is somebody. She's in politics. It's not the mayor. The mayor is Keisha Bottoms.
No, she's not the mayor, but she was a gubernatorial candidate.
Yeah. She in the race. She's somewhere. She just ran for something somewhere.
Thursday night to call all Georgians to vote in the state's upcoming runoff election. Okay.
She heavy though. She heavy in politics.
So
Stacey Abrams.
They jump right into it, and you know, usually in any kind of battle, going first is harder. You know what I'm saying? Because rebuttaling is always easier. And Gucci came out from the beginning with a hook that summed up what this was. That this is the first round of Gucci Man versus Jeezy, and it was a new.
he was like pointing, calling them all type of names.
Record, and I said, "Yo, this nigga did not
no games
come here to fuck around
at all."
Holy shit!
It kind of threw me in for a loop. Because I'm like, nigga, you just recorded this. Like, this ain't even in your Rolodex of music. So, like, I'm looking at the chat and people's like, yo, that's why he was late. Because this nigga was still recording this track. You know
People
what
was
I'm saying?
funny as hell in them comments.
Not facts, but like he was definitely ready for war. Like I
Listen.
felt like he kind of
He wanted to keep it street. He was not about to do nothing commercial.
But if you watch other verses prior to this one, a lot of the verses were more just like, you know, people were giving credit to the music, to the artist, and be like, yo, that was a dope track. I remember that track. I'm about to play my track. But this was legit a rap battle. I don't even want to call it a versus because, granted, for the culture, that's what it was. But for what I seen in my viewpoint, I feel like that was a rap battle.
There was no musical respect.
Listen.
It wasn't like on the other side. What I will say is I noticed that it seemed like Gucci might have bopped a little bit more when he would do something or whatever, but that was about it.
As crazy as it seemed, right? And as much tension as was in it, because I watched the whole thing as well with everybody else. But then I gotta, you know, we here speaking now, looking back in hindsight, you know, at what we saw and doing the math to everything. And I honestly felt like it wasn't really like super street at all. I felt like I know what super street is. Super street, they wouldn't have been on that stage
At all.
I didn't mean street like that. I mean like street, like he didn't come performing his commercial songs. He came performing songs
But
to dig.
what commercial song?
He
played a few, but he played that first song was a dig.
No,
he
went,
nigga,
no,
I'm
he
not
went
doing
crazy.
no commercial corny shit.
No, listen, he went
I'm coming here to
crazy.
talk shit.
No, you a fact. It's a stone cold fact. I get what you're saying, Chelsea, but I'm just trying because I'm trying to like say something here.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like that. He did come like that. But guess what? Jeezy knew he was coming like that.
Mm-hmm.
He had to know he was coming like that because at the end of the day, like Dev say, for the people that really like kind of like, unless you know your taste is just like kind of like biased towards South music or just Gucci music for like a certain reason, everybody knew that kind of like Jeezy would have the upper hand on the catalog and the music when it came to that. So everybody knew that they had this real beef, this real tension from something. Jeezy knew. Yeah. Jeezy knew that if I start like getting the best of them with my music, that it's a possibility this could happen.
But I want to interrupt. I do think it was a surprise for him that he did it on the first song. Even he was like, oh, we doing that just like that. Like, because he, like you said, he would start fucking him up. And you know, like, you know how usually they switched places? Like they would go halfway and then they would switch. I didn't see that happen. I don't know. So basically, I would have thought he gonna be like, when we do the flip side, he gonna start getting disrespectful.
Or towards the end. Not in the very beginning.
So to Chelsea's thing is like, he came out from the rip with that and it was like, oh shit, but Jeezy strategically, the way he kind of like ignored it and just played a song like it's no big deal, it's like he didn't bother to use his nuclear bomb to try to like fuck with it. It's like, I'm gonna just give you that one. I'll just play a record, which is smart in those battles. If this one is real dope, I don't want to throw out one of my and then kind of negate. Let's just smart.
But look, he said it. Like we all checked out the interview that he did right after with the Breakfast Club. You know, shout to them, shout to that. Like he said it though. He said that he knew that it could get ugly. He knew that the situation, that those type of situations that happened, the disrespect could be there and was going to be there. And he already had in his mind that in order to change where we at right now, as a people, and that's what this really like boils down to for me. Because for me, you know, man, you spoke about rappers, murderers, rappers who claim to be murderers, rappers who glorify being murderers and thinking this is the way to go, or rappers that even feel like they really need to be living a certain lifestyle to be a valid rapper. You know what I'm saying? Because of the trickery and the bullshit or the personal shit that people might put out into the universe. And last night was a perfect example that I just felt like Jeezy had a plan as well.
But I want to separate the two things. I'm still talking about music.
Right.
I don't want to even get, like, we're going to get to that point.
Right.
I'm talking about a strategy from the standpoint of song for song, regardless of the content, regardless, like, if you play a hard
But the crazy thing was, like to chime off of what you were saying, it was every song was strategic. From how Gucci, played a song, and then how Jeezy just, even like during the entire verses, like Jeezy was sitting down. Jeezy probably stood up a few times or whatever, but Gucci was standing up the entire time. Jeezy was sitting down, and I feel like he was just like, he knew how he was gonna conduct himself, how he was gonna strategically play certain songs, how he was strategically gonna perform that song, like how he was gonna maneuver.
But he said that in the interview. He said I didn't know exactly what I would play, and I know this from an artist. I knew what he meant. He said, but I knew, depending what energy we was off, playing those records, I know my music is about my life. He said, so I know what records is gonna come, whatever mood I'm in, when this shit, whichever way this shit go. That's just like when Gucci did what he did, and talked what he talked.
Right.
Because it was hard for Jeezy. It was hard for any fucking body who ever been in the real. See, most people that's talking about, I wouldn't have been on no stage like that with no nigga that killed my. You ain't never lose no nigga to violence. None of your niggas to no gun shit. No real beef shit. Most people. Not saying all. So it's easy for everybody to speak.
And say what they want to say.
But like Jeezy said, this wasn't about him in that old situation like that. He was more thinking about the world in the general and the direction we was trying to go
and
in.
showing that you can
but when
do better later.
Right. And when Gucci did all that shit, Jeezy tried to get out his spill. Gucci was trying to stop him because he just wanted to keep going.
Well, let's back up because you gotta understand that there's people that didn't watch that. So I want to make sure that we not skipping over the timeline of things that events and assuming, because some people, there's, as weird as this could be, there's people that's going to watch us that just don't watch that. You know what I mean? So just so they could understand strategically from a music standpoint, if I got hit records, and Richie got street bangers, and he he got the disrespectful Jones. He strategically needs to come with that route. We already know hit for hit that we can't compete. So it's smart. We saw what Jadakiss and Fab. I thought before watching that battle, Fab will wash him. He got all these big hits and everything like that. And then I watched it, and you saw how them street hits felt to people. So when these niggas went back and forth.
But did you when you damn, I don't want to lose my thought, but when you said like those street things, I feel like with Jada, really quick, just to kind of like chime on that, it was more of how Jada was like operating, what he was saying.
Instigating.
Right, and that's what Gucci was doing.
Correct. So what I'm telling you is Gucci's strategy was actually the only strategy that he had to go with.
Right.
Because it was, I am the underdog on some song shit. I'm going to speak on, I'm going to come with the disrespectful shit, and I'm going to cater to my audience too. Like if you got the lesser, a smaller demographic of, I'm going to have them walk away and say, he won that. Jon Snow ain't win that shit. That was Jeezy, you know what I mean? And what Richie was talking about was when it got to a point where he played a diss record. That was already.
Which he announced saying that it wasn't a diss record, but proceed.
The nastiest one.
Right. But he put, he performed that record, and in that record, it speaks on the situation that happened between him and Snowman's homie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where Gucci had to kill his homie. And
I want us to explain it a little bit.
No, you're right.
It's more like, when people hear that, like you like, yo, he killed his homie, like that's crazy. But more on like a self-defense tactic.
Correct.
So let's just speak that, like let's speak on, it's more on like a self-defense, not on like, I don't like this nigga, I'm gonna kill him.
Right. So we gotta be clear on the things that happen as far as like, there's always gonna be rumors that go around stuff. And
the rumor was that Jeezy sent him.
That's the narrative is that Jeezy sent them. But right?
We don't know.
We still don't know.
But check this out. If I had a problem with somebody, right? And then Porter Rich went and did something to the person, right? What they gonna say? I'm just saying, what they gonna say? They
I'ma
gonna be like,
assume-
Dev got Porter to do that. You know what I mean? Like, if
Even
Porter
if you
had
decide to do it on your own.
if Porter had a problem with
Absolutely.
somebody and one of his dogs decide to bust a move, they're gonna
Facts.
say that. Now, what people also said was that, well, it wasn't necessarily a hit. It was just one of those things that people might say. $10,000, a nigga bring me back his chain.
Right.
You know what I mean? A robbery or
Right.
something like that. But I don't even know that to be the thing. These
Yeah.
are just the things that people are talking about
Right.
that a person might have went and did, whatever. But the bottom line is Gucci came out on top in that situation. You got shows like this,
Yep.
Breakfast Club, whatever. Everybody's talking about the stuff in your business. This is what this business is. You know what I
Right.
mean? And a lot of people instigating, certain shit. But now we got these two men on stage, and at the end of the day, there was something that happened, and Gucci Man came out on top. In a battle, even if this was a rap battle where they was rapping back and forth,
Yep.
that would come up.
Yeah.
Gucci played the record. He has all rights to.
Right.
He definitely did.
Yes.
And Porter Rich made me
Understand
understand
that.
that because last night I felt the way a little bit. I'm not even gonna hold you. I felt the way because I've experienced loss like that in gun violence. I know how that is because I could see that nigga walking around every day. The nigga that killed. You know what I'm saying? So it made me feel a little emotional. So I could imagine how Jeezy was feeling in that
Looking at
moment
him.
and looking at him.
Now,
took a lot.
And
Now,
took a lot.
took a
now
lot.
I got friends or family that might have did certain shit, but they was doing something. Like, what was supposed to happen? He was supposed to just lay down in that, and then
Exactly.
y'all would have just been off chilling in a
Right.
video, kicking it. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. No, I agree.
So just like Rich was saying that, growing up in a certain life or a certain area where he said like some people never even went through that.
Yeah.
These is real things you gotta face, and you know the situation.
Yeah.
Like, man, I know my man robbed that nigga, or I
Yeah.
know my man did such and such. You can't always just stand on it on some I'm getting revenge, because you know what the person was into and what was going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You understand the variables. Now, where it gets difficult for people as we watch it is he performs it. Maybe he didn't see enough reaction out of Jeezy, so he took it a little bit further and started talking.
Yeah.
And then it was like it's
he was
silent,
doing
and
the
he's
entire
like,
time.
I put that nigga in the dirt.
He said
Yes.
something about we smoking them.
And
like
after,
how they say
after
they
that,
smoking.
because he said that first, and then
And
it was
then-
like, we smoking on Poogie Loc, and it was like, and you heard the air in the room. You heard somebody in the background like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, because we talked about the op packs and shit like that on here before, that all the kids is running around saying name.
Yeah.
And that's the part where the restraint of Jeezy, those fellas that you see on the sides and everything like that, I commend.
Gotta honor them.
I
Yes.
honor it. And
100%.
I also don't want to attack Gucci based off of
He's just making entertainment, living his truth.
And I'm gonna tell you, being a person that's been in multiple situations where a person tried to do something to me, I feel no way. I don't.
Yeah.
Listen,
You're not
that
supposed
was-
to hold it back.
that
That's
was-
like the story you
that was
told about
definitely-
somebody coming
listen,
in.
That was definitely high level entertainment last night with a nice amount of truthness and real life to it. But they tell us every day that success ain't for everybody.
Facts.
Success ain't for everybody. And I'm gonna say that again. Success ain't for everybody. You understand what I'm telling you? Because last night, what Jeezy attempted to do and what he did get done. Because at the end, regardless of how disrespectful Gucci was, and shout out to Gucci.
Nah, shout out to
because
Gucci.
he was
Facts.
himself.
Right.
He was himself in that battle. He was who he was. He knew people was coming to see the old Gucci.
And
They
in
wasn't-
that predicament that he's talking about,
Yeah.
it's like somebody tried to make me a victim.
Yep.
And I won. And I'm
Exactly.
going to say that in a battle
Right.
because if it was a fight, right?
Yep.
Let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
Which is way less serious.
Yes.
And a person came and they tried to jump me. And I beat both of the niggas up. You're going to hear about that the whole battle.
Yes.
So you're definitely going to hear about it at some point if they tried to shoot me
Listen,
and I killed them.
And he
would-
felt, hold on really quick, he felt how, and Richie kind of like this is what made me understand because, Porter Rich, he's the artist, he understands, he writes me, he writes his own shit. In that moment, he was rapping that song on how he was feeling when he wrote that song.
Right.
So all
Right.
that extra ad-lib shit, that's exactly how he was feeling
right
in that song.
He was
so
feeling like a nigga tried to
understand
kill me and I got him. It didn't work. Like somebody tried to take my life. That's how he felt. So, and Jeezy, a lot of people, it's confusion. It's a lot of different stories out there and different views on this because some people feel like Jeezy was the less of a gangster, if that's what you want to call it, for even taking the battle when Jeezy was the one who supposedly tried to get you killed. And then some people felt like, no, it was Jeezy who was the less gangster for stepping on stage with him because
and then
your
there's
man
people
ended up
and then there's
killed.
people, this is just ignorance. We got to learn to grow. We
Yes.
all done wrong things.
Facts.
It's the people that say stuff like, well, it's real easy to be the mature one when you tried to send somebody to kill somebody and it ain't work out. Now and it's like, regardless of what happened,
It was a loss.
at some point, it has to come to a point of, yo, how can we end this?
Listen.
We both in beautiful positions. We got great women in our
Yep.
lives. We got kids. We got
Money.
people we feed in. We got money. We really, and we represent something.
Y'all
And
represent the culture.
I want to move into the deeper part that I know Rich gonna have some spills on, but
Yeah.
from a strategic point, I want to say that this was a dope moment. Beyond
Absolutely.
the message
Yes.
that Jeezy had to rebuttal when he said what he said, the way he dropped, I'm the realest nigga.
and
That's what I was
Yo,
gonna say. Listen,
God.
some people thought it was like scripted,
Yo.
staged. But that's how you know that Jeezy, he said what he said. He said he didn't know what he was gonna play, but he knew that when motherfucking Gucci dropped the diss record,
Facts.
and he knew that when his rebuttal for that was gonna be, we gotta do better, nigga, because of everything that's going on. That's what makes me the realest nigga in this room.
Facts.
And
Right.
that shit hit so, it was like it hit your
yo,
heart. Like we was
listen,
in this
I wanna
motherfucker
give you-
like,
And,
yo.
and you know why?
Right.
And you know why? And you know why it hits so hard for the people that really are intelligent enough to understand it? Because it's just like Dev said. I'm gonna piggyback off what Dev just said because he went directly where I need to go.
Facts.
It's like we really like power forward center right here, about
Let
to
'em
slam
know.
dunk the shit.
Right.
But Dev is talking about that shit and like Jeezy and him when he played that shit and said I'm the realest nigga in here, whatever, to like the niggas that probably wanted to keep the killing shit going, the dumb shit going,
They felt stupid.
a motherfucker to them, he might have lost. But that's our problem because Jeezy said he did it for King Von, right?
Yep.
And the last
Nipsey
interview,
Hussle.
rest in peace to King Von. But the last interview I seen King Von talk about when he was alive, because I didn't even know who he was all like that. But once that happened and I got wind of it, the first thing I heard King Von say when they asked him about the murders in Chicago and in and in other cities and shit like that, how he felt about it, in cities like where I'm from, where motherfuckers been killing each other forever, they asked him, how can we stop it? Because what do you think will work? And he didn't really have an answer. But what he did say that stood out to me and said, it's like, yo, we gotta be able to do something and find something. I don't know what it is. He said, but it's so hard. Because when one person get killed, right?
It's never stopped.
The other people and the other side
Retaliate.
have a hard time accepting that and finding a way to cope with that and deal with that without retaliating, taking life. So it's life for life, right?
It never ends.
And we understand that these cities and areas that deal with these type of crises and this type of genocide is mainly like black communities all over the motherfucking USA, United States of America, right?
Yep.
So my thing is this: what Jeezy just did last night was show an example of how possibly we could fix this shit and we could try to get our communities right. And you're going to have a lot of gangsters that's watching this now. And niggas going to probably have questions for me because I done had beef. I done been in like real shit, real wars in the street, right? And a lot of people going to ask, well, Rich, will you do this? Will you piece this up? Would you do this up? Listen, we ain't talking about me right now. We ain't talking about my business. But I will do what's best for us and all of our children and all of us as a community moving forward because right now we losing. And what I will say is that think about all the murders, right? And all the violence that happened in all the inner cities across America, from cities like Chicago to Atlanta to Camden to Philadelphia to LA to Compton to Watts, all that shit. All these murders that then took place because of oppression, because of poverty, and these different like things that that spikes the violence and make the people turn on each other, right? And all these murders that then happen. So you mean to tell me that if it's not okay for two people to come to the table after a murder was committed. And we gotta find a way to say, okay, it happened, but let's fix this. Let's find a way to let go. Then what you telling me is that if we can't do that,
There's only one other
then
option.
we fucking doomed.
Yeah.
Because everybody gotta keep killing each other until there's no more of us.
So it's basically like an argument, you know what I'm saying, that you have with somebody about even something lesser, and somebody always gotta have the last word. Nobody can agree on who going to get the last body.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so rather than that, we'll just let our bodies just stack up on each side, everybody dying, because I'm never going to be able to be like, I did that, then he did that, and I'ma just...
And it's not just the people dying, it's their kids, their family, their mom, their dad, their friends. They're affected as well. People think, oh, I'm going to just, kill him because he killed my brother or whatever.
But
you're not thinking about everything around it.
Yeah.
You're not thinking
Listen,
about, you're not just killing him. You're killing, you could be killing somebody's
I want to
dad,
bring up something important
that.
too, because we're talking about the violence, and I want to relate it to, because I know it's so much to cover. This is a topic that could be a 50 million hour discussion. But when we talking about this shit in the music, what we witnessed last night with the disrespect or whatever, it takes it to another level, because there is a machine that makes money off of the community and the music and everything like that. The violence in the music. When Chelsea talked about, let's talk about this, the murder in the music and how we like glorify it. It's when he said like, I'm smoking on this person, and there's a lot of that going on. Could you imagine? I want y'all to really think about what you're saying in these songs. Imagine you as a regular person got a cousin or whoever, a loved one that dies, and you, it doesn't matter what they was in. They could have been running around doing the same wild shit and all of that. But now you have successful artists that are coming out with songs, and these songs got your cousin's name inside of the mute. Like, they're saying names. And it's catchy ass hooks. I listen to Chicago drill music more than I listen to anything. It's how I work, all of that shit. Like she was talking about how I work out. And, I'm an old head, so I don't be in tune with certain shit. I might be sitting there singing certain songs and shit like that. And then I come across and find out, like, hold on, when he say that and that hook, that's so catchy, that's so fire to me. That's a person that's a insult, like a sly insult to a certain individual that's dead.
And everybody's singing about it like it don't mean nothing.
It's kids making TikTok dances to that shit. You feel what I'm saying? And think about the wars that's going on with the people that you don't see, that's not famous. Because people seem to only care about famous people. When the famous person dies,
shit.
you know what I'm saying, we all broken down because because obviously we know who they are, we relate to them. But there's so many people in their surroundings and underneath them that's affected by the music that these people are putting out. You know what I'm saying? And I notice it when my son, I listen to like Vaughn, Dirk, probably one of my favorite rappers, just Dirk. But when I catch my son listening to it, and he's 13 now, I really be on some old dad shit like, yo, man, turn that shit off. Like, why? It's not a big deal. Turn that shit the fuck off. Like I said, put something else on. Because I understand the effects that it got at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they're making an art that imitates their life, but then life does imitate art. It continues on. And why is the question that we want to talk about. Like, why is it that killing people is so cool in the songs? Like, what is it about us as humans that when we do hear that, it's dope to us?
I think it went from like, from like hip hop at one point, people talking about just the harsh reality, because a lot of hip hop definitely came from like the streets, and a lot of times you might have had like a real rapper or two that really been around a block or two, you know what I mean, and really been through a thing or two that might be possessed with the gift, the actual gift to be able, because rap is poetry. Mm-hmm. Rap is supposed to be entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see rap ain't supposed to be no different than when a country singer make a song about being a cowboy and he got a gun reference in his song and all that. That nigga ain't leaving the crib going to smoke nobody.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And rap ain't supposed to be no different.
Right. People, because white people, not sitting there saying, man, he ain't never shot nobody, man. Fuck him.
White people drinking a beer singing with him. I got my 45 too.
And guess what? And that's why you ain't hearing about country singers. Because country and rap music, that same job when I was listening to Jeezy, I had a coworker and he used to play shit. Like, that's all he listened to. And he was like, he wasn't even a coworker, he was like the supervisor. So he playing shit. I gotta put my headphones on to escape the big speakers.
I like country music. I listen to it. They get dirty.
The songs have the exact same content as
but
rap. They just brag about something different. So it's just more like my Ford truck, this, that, how you like me now, I'm stunning now, I got a gun, all that shit.
Even rock and roll, heavy metal, they talking about the craziest drugs. They getting high as a bitch. Like,
where it's taking them.
And shout out to them. I'm not tearing it down. Shout out to them. If that's what you want to do, I ain't saying that I glorify or whatever. I just don't judge people. That's between you and the universe. But my thing is, we the worst with everything. We the worst with everything. Point blank, period. We the worst with everything. And I think with just rap, I be hearing it in some of these rappers' lines. I done heard rap lines where it say like, yo, a nigga got a job and he talking about drugs and guns.
Yeah.
As if it's something wrong with that. You talking about me, nigga. What's wrong with it? I was in the streets all my life, nigga. I grew up in jail, nigga. I did more time than most of you niggas. That's a fact. I've been through more wars than most of you niggas. That's a fact. I don't need to go get niggas. I bust my gun forever. That's a fact. And I decided to get a job for my children and decided to use my God-given talent, my gift that I was always blessed with, but I couldn't get to it because of the streets. The streets, I was so infatuated with the streets that my gift, even when my dog, shout to my dog G's, my niggas that had Teflon Studios back in the day, when they had it up and running trying to get his music shit a first run, I was in the streets. I was infatuated with the streets, so I wasn't into the music shit. But eventually, after I did my last stretch that was like 60 months, some of you niggas probably never even did more than a punk-ass 3 flat or a punk-ass county bid. You might have did one state bid and you talk like you lived there forever. Like, come on, man. We be putting toxic shit out in the universe. I decided to change my life and talk about the shit I went through. Because I had a little bit of poetry skills. I was blessed with a gift. I love music. So I said, maybe I could put this shit behind some melodies. And I could put a message in my shit along while I'm talking about it, because I'm not really glorifying it. I'm just talking about what the fuck it is and what the fuck really happened.
And what
right?
you went through.
And that's just one aspect of this shit. The second view I got on it, and the second thing I got to say on niggas who say shit like that, like a rapper really need to be selling drugs if he talking about some drug shit, a drug story in his rap. Or if he make a story about somebody getting shot in his rap, he really got to go shoot some fucking body.
It's crazy.
You niggas is the worst. You niggas is the worst. Don't y'all see what happened with, and I don't know the details, and shout out to Bobby Shmurda and them niggas, because they held it down and they took accountability for they shit like real G's. But all the niggas that's out here really like rapping about illegal shit and incriminating shit and really living it, that shit be backfiring on them. And motherfuckers is out here talking like that's what the fuck these young niggas supposed to be doing. If you rap about drugs or you rap about busting your gun, nigga, we want to see it in your next video. We damn near asking you to be a snitch on yourself.
Yeah, they want you to be a fucking crash dummy,
like,
nigga.
Man, you niggas is fucking retarded. You niggas don't know no gangsters. Not to me. Not talking like that. My niggas got 60 years. They ain't never coming home.
Ever.
My nigga Edie Ahmed ain't never coming home. Inshallah, he will. Who knows? Cause of street shit. And guess what? I can't even go into details. I can't even go into details because there's so much shit to this shit and other niggas shit. But it's a reason I chose to change my life.
And what I think is important that fans need to do, because a lot of this is a lot of toxic fans, right? Motherfuckers really sit at home, and y'all gotta understand that, in a sense, it's blood on y'all hands, man. Y'all think y'all just on keyboard. All them comments and y'all instigating and being on there. Well, what you gonna do? He said this about you. They comfortable somewhere, but these rappers and people feel like they have to do something to keep this persona going with these fans. Yeah. These fans be stirring the pots.
They do.
Blogs be stirring the motherfucking
I think it started, not started, but it gets glorified. Like, let's just talk about 50 Cent. Not saying he murdered somebody, but when he got shot 9 times, it was such a big thing, and everyone was looking at 50 like, oh, this is like, who got shot 9 times? This is like so intriguing. Mm-hmm. Then even
but who was it intriguing to?
It was intriguing to the people.
It was intriguing to the world.
To everybody. That's why he sold so many damn records. Mm-hmm. Like, we want to know who got shot 9 times and is rapping. Kanye West, that's not a murder, but he was rapping through his mouth. When people see negative things attached to something and it comes out positive, which if you get a record, Bobby Shmurda, that's positive. He's got records, and we all looking at him like, oh, we dancing to this song. But in reality, he's really talking about murdering somebody. Mm-hmm. So he's in jail now? Yeah. And that is not cool. But because it came out and everyone's dancing to it, the kids, the youth, the people that don't know no better, the people that want to come up and sing now or be rappers, they think, like he was saying, that you have to live this certain life for people to actually pay attention to you. Right. Nobody comes out and says, I do yoga, I respect my mother, and have a rap song. They're going to look at him like, this nigga's a joke. But when somebody comes out and says, what's his name? The guy with the big grill, I can't think of his name. He got the dreads. He sings, he looks like Lil Wayne. I can't think of it.
Jacquay?
No, not Jacquay. I'm going to look it up. But he is in jail right now, and they have a snippet of him, and they said, "Oh,
you're talking about Melly."
Melly, and they was like, "Oh, did you murder somebody or something about killing somebody?" And he was like, he like smiled like it was like funny. Now you all this Instagram and all this stuff, you see kids.
Hold on, this other part too. When you looking at these, a lot of kids, man, these ain't people to be jealous of.
Yeah,
when you see a rapper,
people are so easily impressionable.
When you see a rapper and they got 1 million chains on and all of that type of shit, he doing good. Now, I mean, and bless them while they're in that. Mm-hmm. But look at what's happening. You got to be rich for a short period of time,
and then you be in jail,
or you're dead.
Yeah,
worse. You know what I mean? Or you're dead
for 5 minutes of fame.
And it's our faults for purchasing certain shit
and glorifying
for because we fuck with the music. And then like Richie said, holding a person and saying, oh, we need a nigga to be doing this. Right. We need a person to be doing that. Oh, he's soft now because he's not doing that anymore. What do people really want? Because I'm tired of this. Is what I don't want. I don't want black culture to be synonymous with criminal culture.
Right.
Why do I'll know a person that is a teacher or a janitor or whatever, but they got rules in their head like they in a mafia or a gang. People will act like, and that's what I'll be wondering is like, do you feel this or is you, and I'm speaking for myself, when I see a person act like they so up in arms about street dealings, like who did what and who told on who and who did this, and I'll be like, dog, are you involved in that at all?
Right.
No.
So why does it matter?
I'm like, bro, you go to work. That ain't our world, bro. Let them hash that. My nigga, because they'll be more concerned about who told on who than who raised their kids. And you know, or who, like it'd be like, no, it'd be real, like put it like this. This is what I want to make clear from me. Mm-hmm. No matter who you are, there's honorable people everywhere. I'm not the type of nigga that look at somebody. Niggas think that a street nigga that did something with another street nigga and didn't tell on him is the most honorable nigga in the world. Like he's more honorable than the nigga that said, I'm not doing no crime at all. The nigga that don't do no crime at all, people they don't salute him at all. No, they only be like, now a street nigga that don't tell is the greatest nigga of all time. But a nigga that just says, honestly, I don't want nothing to do with none of that. I'm not telling it. I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm gonna go to work. Listen. People look at them like he's a square. He's nobody. So it's a system that's set up for people to.
But you gotta say too though, like, yeah, like there's a nigga that does this and, you know, both of these niggas that, you know, they sold drugs together and one didn't tell. But you got to say you was around that. So for you to be able to be whatever you want to call it, a square and go to work. But you can still do that and you choose not to.
Yeah, we in the same predicament.
Right, exactly.
But niggas won't salute. That should be the highest salute is the nigga that says. And that's why what Richie talking about and everything like that is what a kid is looking like. I want to be that.
Yep.
They're looking at the level like, why would I want to be the straight and arrow dude that go to work? He don't get saluted like the dude that is like, nah, I want to be a trapper. That's honorable. I want to sell drugs, do murders, whatever like that, and just
and
not
hope
tell.
to get away with it this whole time.
Or no, if I get caught, I ain't telling, and that's the ultimate person.
Yep.
Where instead the ultimate person just be somebody that's trying to help the community. Nobody cares about shit like that. You could go out and help the community, and people be like, man, he doing that for the likes, or he doing that. It's like,
but you're doing it. But the thing is, these kids are doing. Street guys and rappers, they kind of the type of energy you get is kind of like I'm not a rapper, so I don't know. I'm just assuming you're kind of getting the same attention like a rapper would get because you're getting that same type of honorable, stigma. Like I want to be that rapper. Yeah, I want to be that tractor. He sold X, Y, and Z. I want to be that.
It's
right?
also parents allowing their kids to like listen to this music.
But you can't. No, you can't
say the parents
so
because they can walk out every day. And go ahead.
What was you doing when you was a kid? Like when you got kids.
I'm saying parents. If I'm a kid and I've got a young parent who's, let's say I'm 5 years old and my dad is 22, 23, and I see him bringing different women in. I see him with money. I see plenty of adults and parents on Instagram giving their kids stacks of money, letting their kids rap, act like they live in that life.
That part is, but with listening to music, I feel like gets to be like uncontrollable. Like when I ask my son, like, how you know that song? The nigga plays PlayStation. The Jones is like, you're on a fucking chat thing playing with people all day. You go to school? You don't go to school.
But listening to it is different than actually seeing people around you doing it or seeing people around you glorify it.
But think about how lost those people is. They we're talking about. So you got to understand, I'm trying to figure out where's the fault land because the motherfucker that's 25 with his son that's doing that, he is the fucked up kid that grew up looking up. That's what Jeezy is sitting there saying, yo, we trying to make an example. For them.
It's not all the parents' fault, but the parents and adults, all of us, have to be more aware of what we're doing.
But what I'm saying is the parent is the kid. The 22-year-old nigga is the kid.
In that situation, yes, the parent is the kid.
Most of them, it's not as much like it's not 45 as much 45-year-old parents handing down a stack of money like that. I mean, there is. But what I'm saying is, if we see this on a grand scale, we know that it's more of a youth thing. The immaturity is being handed down each time.
And then
you know what I'm saying?
And not even that, but like when you said the parents, granted, that could be this situation, but like living in these hoods and being in those areas and you coming out there and you seeing that shit every day, ain't nothing them parents can do.
Nothing's gonna stop them from seeing it.
And then when you listening to that music and you out there and you bopping to that shit, like you said, you don't want your son listening to that because he can go outside and
listen
see that
to the
shit.
radio.
Listen, the music is amazing. It is repetitive. All right, so if you listen to a self-help book or whatever, right? You listen to a self-help book. It'll tell you over and over again, or even something religious. You are God's child. You are this or this and that. So if the songs is just like, I got Glock 16s, I shoot a nigga in his bang, bang, bang. It's just nonstop. Like it's on and it sounds melodic.
It's all it is on
in
the
the
radio.
background.
That's
It's like
all it is.
It's like pop, 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 pop. All the guns is dancing. It's like I personally will sit there, draw pictures, and listen to that shit for 20 hours straight. You know what I'm saying? So on a child's brain,
they don't know how to separate it. They don't know that it's just
when I say child, even like teenagers. I had a homie who threw himself in the streets because he rapped good. He rapped good, and the only thing that he would get was that was the resistance. People wouldn't accept his talent. It would be, but what block is you on?
Right.
Him being a nigga like, I'm not scared of none of that type shit. I just never did that. It's like, no, niggas not fucking with me. All right, then. I'm going to be on this block then. And next thing you know, he's selling crack and out in the street and actually ended up not really rapping. It was the fucking worst reversal of things that I see.
Because you get sucked in. The thing is, you get so sucked in. Like, people like let me tell you something. Porter Rich, he can get sucked in every single day. Every single day. Why? Because he in it. He walk out his step, it's happening. Mm. Everything's happening. So if this nigga can go to work every single day, legally, everybody else can do that
but
shit.
a lot of these kids, and shout to these kids that's going through what they going through, they ain't been through what I've been through yet. They ain't lost what I lost yet.
Why they gotta go through that for them to?
And they shouldn't. And they shouldn't. And that's where we need to start changing the game. That's why I salute Jeezy so much, because it took so much for him to do that, because everybody wants to be the gangster.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be the nigga to say, no, I'm sticking to the protocol. We don't do that. It's eye for an eye, or whatever the case is. And like I just pointed out, if that's the case, in every ghetto community where this violence is tearing us the fuck apart, and tearing up our people, if that's the case,
there be no more people.
We're doomed.
We're
fucking doomed. You might as well teach your own fucking child to go ahead and get ready to learn who your enemies were and who their children are. Mm-hmm. To keep the shit going and going and going. It's no fucking plan to break the fucking chains, man.
Right.
Like, rap is supposed to be entertainment. And the minute we started fucking it up because we place our own toxic rules on every fucking good thing we get. We do it all the time. Mm-hmm. And where we went wrong with fucking rap is promoting rap, which is entertainment, nothing different than rock and roll, R&B, or country fucking music. But we promoted it like you had to be doing what the fuck you said you was doing.
Imagine a nigga saying, imagine a nigga saying, Tom Cruise ain't really a motherfucking race car driver. Tom Hanks ain't an astronaut.
Those are actors.
How is he? It has to start being looked at as a performance piece.
And no disrespect to the kids that's out there trying to hustle, because I know we all just trying to hustle. But it's a lot of kids that's out there that they telling you. You hearing them in their interviews, and don't get me wrong, they might have was dope. But you got a lot of these kids that's coming out in an interview saying like, yo, I just started rapping 4 months ago. I just started rapping 8 months ago. And it's because he was the nigga really killing niggas. Mm-hmm. He the nigga that really killed somebody in his community. So he felt like, no, I'm going to be the #1 rapper because
and speak on it, and then later get caught.
I'm really killing the most people.
So you snitched on yourself.
I'm so glad Rich said that, because this is the last thing that I wanted to get into. Is this. We have to realize this part about the whole cycle. You have to be real with yourself and say this. A lot of the rappers, barring talent, because some of them really got the talent, right? So don't get it twisted. What you could say all day, like, oh, niggas get this money and then they need to chill, whatever, but you was antagonizing it the whole time. And the only reason why that rapper or this rapper became a famous rapper was because of his criminal record. Because y'all niggas, when y'all watch it and get intrigued, y'all start knowing about them background characters beforehand. It'd be little YouTube videos about him. This body he beat this body case. And people are so intrigued by that. It's actually that made them a successful rapper. Because if he had the same music, like Rich said, same music and everything, but he didn't have he was locked up for 6 years for this body, and he's connected to this murder, people wouldn't even fuck with him.
Because people want to be like, where's the credibility from? You could say all this, and how many rappers saying they raps? Oh, you speak it, but you don't live it. Right. And it's like, what you mean? Like you said, this is entertainment. You don't have to live it.
That shit ain't got nothing to do with that.
If you kill a couple people, and then you use that to become a famous rapper because you're making the music, and people is like, but it's really backed by bodies.
Right.
It's real. You think that just goes away? Now that you got a chain and you on stage performing,
coming after your ass.
It's still stuff coming. It's still karma coming.
You still putting the info out there.
Kids, don't think you just gonna be able to just wild out in the streets, make your mixtape, ride off into the sunset. Please be mindful. Adults, let's be mindful about what we consuming too. what our kids is consuming. This is a discussion that would have to go on forever to honestly
there's
come
so
to.
much information out there on all this shit.
It's so
I can't
much.
even get to it all.
Yeah, we be out of time, but I wanna so that we don't leave out of here on like a dark note or nothing like that. First off, just rest in peace to everybody. Yeah. And
Mo3, King Von,
and shout to Gucci and Jeezy for such an iconic,
and you know what,
such an iconic moment last night, man. And Swiss Beats and Timbaland for the whole.
And rest in peace to the people, the people we don't know.
Yeah,
the other people, that's not famous, the other ones, you know what I'm saying, and they families and everything like that, because this shit is just crazy and ridiculous. So I want to talk about something that makes me feel better about our culture.
And before you go there, just worry about your own raps. Stop worrying about other niggas' raps and other niggas' craft and other niggas' entertainment and what niggas doing the grind. Worry about your shit and keep your eyes on your shit only. Maybe you'll be moving up the ladder faster.
Please. Yeah, just stop. Please, just stop fueling that fire.
Worrying about other motherfuckers, man.
Because some equations, hold on, because it's hard to stop. Some equations only lead to a negative outcome. If two people are feuding over something and anything happened. You know what I'm saying? The people beefing, it's not always about that. People could be beefing over money. If you our people are so savage, it'll be like, oh, if he go to court, he a bitch. Or if he let him not get his money, he a bitch. So the only thing you're asking them to do is violence. You're literally telling people that the only choice that they have is violence. And then just the crazy part, when a nigga do the violence, people be like, he was dumb as hell. Right. Nigga was up, Wyatt.
Absolutely.
Wyatt, that nigga threw his whole life away. And then
either that or they get quiet and say nothing. Like they ain't had nothing to do with it. Like they wasn't one of the niggas trying to put the battery in these young niggas' backs on this same type shit.
Straight up. But let's talk about some black excellence.
Let's talk
about some people that did walk a certain path that I fuck with, that I salute 100%. Let's talk about Will motherfucking Smith. Now let's talk about the reunion to the Fresh Prince of BEL-AIR.
It was so awesome. Like I was yesterday we was in a group chat and Dev mentioned it. He was like, yeah, I was up. He was just telling us what he was doing, and then he told me, yeah, I watched the Fresh Prince reunion. I know it was coming out, but I just didn't know when. So when you told me, I was like, nah, I gotta watch this. And then once you told me, you was like, nah, it's a little emotional, And I asked Dev, I was like, did you shed a tear? He was like, nah, yo, I did. So once I turned it on, the first thing I said, I was like, I'm too emotional. I'm a crybaby. From the beginning, just everything, just knowing the backstory, because sometimes we don't know the backstory. Sometimes we don't know what be going on and what happened. Because you got to think about it, there was two different Vivian Banks. Mm-hmm. What happened to the first Vivian Banks? What happened? And we just never knew.
Well, I'm a little bit older, so I kind of knew. We didn't know the details.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying.
But the way it came out back then,
it was
negative. Know what I'm saying? It was like a negative thing. So. You had the show Fresh Prince of BEL-AIR. People are still watching this show. That's how amazing this was.
It was on this morning on BT. They was playing it.
I just remember being a kid watching Fresh Prince of BEL-AIR. I was the same age as Tatiana Ali, so I was in love with her in the screen. Nigga was like, you know what I'm saying?
Super bad.
I was just in love with her as a kid. And even the whole thing of we was from Camden, we was bummier. Keep it real. That's what was going on, especially in the early 90s. So it was this girl for this character in there that was all
preppy,
dressed up, hair always done. You know what I'm saying? It's the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? And I remember the whole family, everything stopped in the house. Everything.
To sit down and watch. Yeah.
That was it. Even though we wasn't in the same areas necessarily, it's somebody in the living room, somebody in my aunt's room or something like that. It was everybody is watching the Fresh Prince of BEL-AIR when that shit came out. Mm-hmm. And looking at it in hindsight now, you see how big it was for the back then. You was just watching it.
Yeah.
It was just entertaining you.
You didn't realize the boundaries.
They didn't realize that.
All the walls they were breaking. It was so. You had a black cast, right? And you had Quincy Jones.
Who had money.
Yeah, the dad. Look how they're showing the dad is a judge.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And, all that good stuff. And the crazy thing was, I mean, I didn't know the story was basically about Benny Medina's life. If anybody don't know who Benny Medina is, he used to be J-Lo's manager. He's been in the industry for years. But it was from him going to Watts to moving to, I think, LA or Beverly Hills. Mm. So it was basically, you know, his life story. But they kind of like, Quincy Jones seen Will Smith and, you know, they wanted to offer him the show. And then Quincy asked Will, like, yo, where you from? He said, I'm from Philly. He said, all right, your character gonna be from Philly. And then now we're gonna create the show. So just to see, like, they just, like, use kind of, like, Benny Medina's life, but use some of the stuff that Will Smith had in his life and adding different, it just made me appreciate the show so much more.
It's magical.
Because it came from something. It wasn't like
something
we just created
up.
This whole thing. It was like it came from something. And we're not going to make it, which they said on the show, they said, being black, we're not going to make it like unrealistic for the black community. We're not going to make it so we're black people. You know how we all watch the movie and it's like, if I was in that movie, I wouldn't do that. Black people don't do that. You know, like we yell at the TV all the time. Mm-hmm. Black people don't run and see who the killer is. Mm-hmm. We run the other way. That's white people shit.
Right.
So they would actually stop when they were reading and say, you know, this isn't what us as a culture would do.
Right.
And it just made it realistic. And that's why I think a lot of people, and especially the black culture, connected with the show because it felt, even though you weren't rich or your dad wasn't a judge, there was a lot of moments and lessons and things that happened in the show when he saw his dad.
Yeah.
Like that people can relate to that wasn't just out of this world. Like, no, that would never happen. It was still like people could relate to it. And that's what made it great for the community and for like that time and now.
Yeah.
What moment that really touched me was the conversation he had with Janet Hubert. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, I didn't know.
They didn't talk for 27 years.
She said 30. You know, first he was like, it's 20. She said no 30. Like she like corrected him like no 30. And what really got to me because first of all, no shade to the second Mrs. Vivian Banks, but the first one, she was like a dark-skinned black woman. I mean, she was smart. She danced. She this. She was just like everything.
She was like the cool mom.
Yeah, like the cool. She kind of reminds me of your mom, low-key, but that's another story.
I was thinking that too.
Right. But, you know, the fact that, like, she didn't, like, proceed with the show and she was explaining why, like, nobody knew what she was going through. She was going through, like, a whole abusive relationship while she was pregnant. She was going through, you know, her pregnancy situation and just trying to like come to work.
And everyone was treating her different at work.
Exactly. And when someone special and big and is going to be a star says that you're a difficult person to work with and you say that to the team,
everybody goes along with it. Like we was talking about in the episodes before, if I say, you know, Dev said something ignorant to me before y'all come in the room, when y'all come in, y'all all gonna look at him funny without even realizing it. Yep. And Will being the star of the show, and he says something, it's like, well, we gotta go with what Will says, or we gotta agree what he says, because I don't want to get kicked off the show. And if he says it, it's probably true.
Yep.
You got
now to be fair, she was going through something. People didn't know what she was going through. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's her private business, and she didn't communicate that. So what it was that she was one way the whole time.
And then changed.
And then all of a sudden, she wasn't talking to people. Yep. She said that.
Yep.
So when Will told her, I thought you hated me.
Yep.
Because if I'm motherfucking kicking with, like, if this is how this is, and then y'all come around and I'm like, I'm off doing my own thing. I'm not doing this. Like, yo, what's going on?
But they both never cleared up. It's like she didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing.
But
so
also,
it's like,
we just talked about kids. Will was 21 years old.
Yeah,
he was
motherfucker been out of school for a couple years,
making money and a star of a show.
Yeah, but
gonna do what he
but
wants.
the bottom line is he's a kid. It's supposed to be child. He is a kid.
Yep.
So it's like he's a kid. He don't even understand this older woman.
And he's looking at her as his mom.
So that's the interesting part about it was even at 50 years old, he's like 52.
Yeah.
When they sat down on an elder level, she still had to control that conversation where she was still like auntie.
Yeah.
She was still the one that was like, he kind of looked, that was one of the only times besides entanglement or whatever, that you saw Will Smith and felt like he don't even know what to say right now. And she would, initiate or say like we said a lot of bad things about each other, and I'm sorry.
He
He's
didn't
like,
know
I'm
what
sorry,
to
and
say,
then, like she controlled that, and you really looked at her like that mom figure that we saw Aunt Viv be on the show.
Did you see? You might have to watch it again to see this, but like when they were zooming out,
they was talking.
She was like, "You still my baby boy." She said, "Like I read those lips."
I didn't know what they said, and I didn't even like rewind. I just thought it was dope that they didn't play it.
Yep.
That they hugged and you saw her talking to him in the ear, and that they let it not be, because obviously the mics are rolling.
Right.
They just let it be their moment to say what they said. And I want to say this too, something we didn't know. What is crazy is things are still meant to be, because that second Aunt Viv was supposed to be the first Aunt Viv.
Yep.
That's a big thing not to overlay. It's not like she just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
She said, I got offered a role and was like,
she said,
I don't want to be on a roll with the rapper.
Yep,
and
she said
so
that.
she said that and was like, nah, and then said she watched it and was like,
That was cute. She
Like,
said that was cute.
Yeah.
Nah, I think just to touch on it a little bit, I think it was amazing, man. And to be honest, like it kind of like made me think of us. Like, you know what I mean? Just from the door, it made me think of us because just the camaraderie, you know, though them talking about spending that much time out of their life to work together in something that they all believed in, you know what I'm saying? Like I instantly started thinking about us. It was super super definitely. Listen, if people don't fucking know, I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. God made me how he made me. I definitely shed a tear to some shit too, like a movie. I just can't help it, man. When shit be fucking like dope, it either be dope or tragic shit. You know, I've shed tears doing for like over tragic shit. You know, people I lost and shit like that. But dope shit, joy too, also just brings you a different type of energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, and y'all spoke a lot about the both the Aunt Vivs and shit. So I'm gonna touch on something different. I just want to touch on like you know, not only the camaraderie that all of them had and all of them making each other better. You know, because I think Alfonso, Carlton, they spoke about that, like how him and Will finally like actually got to meet, and they seen once they met. They got to know each other's energy and they knew which direction to go in with
they
their
knew
work,
how to play off
with their craft and with their comedy. And again, it reminds me of us just knowing each other, learning each other, how we do our wordplay and how we know when to hit a punchline, when to drop a joke. And, you know, I thought it was just amazing, man. And then I thought Uncle Phil, rest in peace, man, to Phil James Avery. I thought he was amazing. I thought Will, you know, because I've done a little acting in my career, you know, and I've been around some people and some inspiring people who gave great advice. And, you know, Clifton Powell sticks out to me as one of the ones who I've been around, you know, that gave me like crazy, wild advice. And it was like real, like genuine and down to earth advice that he gave me. And it was crazy just to see Will Smith, like, you know, in that same kind of like light, young, up and coming acting. And he was around like the older guy who was James Avery. And James Avery seen the fire in him. He's seen the potential in him. Because sometimes, you know, you might not see your own potential. You know what I'm saying? But somebody around you see it. And they like, nah, like, listen, this is what you do. Like, you can do this. Like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? And basically, that was like what James Avery was for Will in a lot of situations. And Will spoke on that. Where in a lot of situations, you know, he might have was shook and thought he couldn't do a certain part.
He was like, I'm a rapper. I'm not an actor. And then he ends up coming out to be the best
like the
actor
biggest,
of all
like,
time.
wow.
One of the best actors of all time.
And that is really a part of James Avery's legacy.
Yes.
Like that's his like he's his like acting dad.
Yep.
Like it's like, dog, you were responsible. We wouldn't have these Will Smith joints if not for that man. That's just amazing.
And I like that they showed like his clips, like a best of him, to show that he was great too. Mm-hmm. He was great with
James
what he did.
Avery was the mold of all that. Yeah. Everybody spoke that they learned something, just the way he was, how he carried himself off the set. How he would teach them things about music, about jazz, about suppression, and all that type of stuff. He sat there and taught them that. And just to be able to have a cast where they're all emotionally connected, like Richie said, like it reminds us of this show. You know, we are learning each other on a day-to-day basis. You get what I'm saying? We're connecting on a day-to-day basis. We know how to vibe off with one another on a day-to-day basis.
And we all grew up differently. We all experienced things differently, and we learn things from each other.
And it's early for us. I just know that they did 6 years. So it was a lot where they, eventually we will be like traveling together. We will be like just doing different things together where we'll be around each other
but
way more.
We're spending a lot of time, like,
yeah, absolutely.
not for nothing, like, I see y'all more than who I,
listen,
my friends
listen,
and stuff.
that's why I had to bring that up. Like, yo, it reminded me of us, because I love everybody we fuck with. Like, I love y'all. Like, y'all my friends. You know what I'm saying? And we do this shit.
And I like that we point out and try to help each other. Like, shout out to Garnett. Garnett not here right now.
Yeah,
But
Garnett,
Garnett, he so you got Dev, right? So Dev has the vision. He know what he wanted to look like, right? And he like, Wally, like, I need you to be like this. Chelsea, I want you to, when you spin that record, or when you do, he has the vision. Then you got Garnett sitting down and he's just like, Wally, like, I need you to be a more like, or say this. And then Puerto Rich was like, I got your back. Say that. Like, everybody has a key point or some type of, energy to kind of help you be successful in this whole
Telling
thing.
you, it's really
and
like
it's
a
a
starting
lot
five.
of, let me tell y'all something. It's a lot of work. Dev, like, what Dev does is a lot of work. Niggas don't commend that nigga. Niggas don't give that nigga the credit that he deserves because this nigga up all night.
Yeah.
Doing
this
shit.
crazy. I was up. Listen, I was
night.
up crazy late last night. Like, even with this, y'all, we making sure that we get this to y'all fast because we understand that people need to consume stuff fast. We understand that the verses just happened last night. We're human beings because I see people say stuff like, yo, the episode should be 2 hours, 3 hours. Yo, can you give us another one?
That's a lot
we
of
only
work.
really can
Another
promise.
one.
We try to promise one visual a
Listen.
week. Even Tuesday, we're giving you this early.
Right.
There won't be an episode this Tuesday night.
Right.
We will be putting this one out immediately. And think, right now, I'm just talking on the mic. I gotta chop this shit up, mix the vocals, all of that. I'm gonna be doing that as soon as we're done recording that so that I could get this to y'all. Is a lot of work, and seeing how they worked behind the scenes and seeing how they came out there and hyped up the crowd.
Yeah.
You didn't know all of that stuff. They had their rituals to keep the family thing going. The Friday nights in Will's room,
Yeah.
I couldn't get over laughing at because it kind of like remind. I do dumb shit like that. Like, I remember getting scripts where, because they really prefer that you read the whole script, even everybody else's part, so you know the story.
Yeah.
Right? And Will was so great at what he did.
He
was
remembered
like,
That nigga
everybody's-
remembered everybody's lines, and in the first couple episodes, he used to move his lips and mimic it
Yeah.
that
while
shit
they was
crazy.
talking.
He was
And they had
the top mocker, Garnett Briscoe.
yeah. No, he was really Briscoe with the mocking, and they had this. They kept like at first they was telling him like, "Yo, you got to stop. You killing us."
And then
Because
he
they could-
finally saw it.
was
Was
visual.
like, oh hell no.
Yeah, so but that was just dope for him to even show that the greatest. We all had like
wanted
growing
it.
pains.
Yeah.
We all had growing pains, and everybody had to like study and learn their shit and really like want their shit to become great, man.
I didn't realize how important every single character was. Hillary. We didn't even speak on Hillary.
Yeah,
like,
Hillary.
Just Hillary and her role there. And of course, Carlton is super legendary.
Yes.
And, he's super legendary because he had his own things, like the Carlton dance or whatever like that. And just to see how all of that really lasted the test of time.
Right.
The morals that was in the show.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When they were speaking on black things for Waleska, the fashion. I didn't realize how now they were rich kids.
Yeah.
So Will had all this fucking
the newest
jackets.
the newest Jordans.
Yeah, beforehand, like he
Listen.
had all of this shit on the show and the shit that I didn't even peep. Like, I definitely wouldn't know what a $5,000 cashmere sweater looked like.
Yeah.
But when she said, yeah, I got to be this black woman who's on this show with this $5,000 sweater on, but I'm still
Ready
taking
to
off my
fight.
earrings. And that, I think, was the difference in the way the character was played between, dark-skinned Aunt Viv
Right.
and light-skinned Aunt Viv seemed more like calm and chill. It seemed like it wasn't, but everything was meant to happen the way it was happening. I'm glad that they
Absolutely.
brought back, what was his, Nikki, the
Oh,
kid.
the son. Yeah.
Son, he got the pop in there. And it was enough of it. It's like they knew how much the audience would want to see.
I thought Jazzy Jeff part was dope alone. Him getting kicked out 20 times in one day. They had to keep
Yeah.
filming
Yeah,
it.
and then
Throwing
I
him
didn't
out.
even notice back then
I
that
thought that
was
was
the
dope.
same footage. So whenever he wore that shirt, he was getting kicked out. I didn't notice that he wore the same shirt
That's
a lot on the
crazy.
show. And if you
I
saw
didn't even
the
peep.
because they said
it.
they
They talked
said
about
so
it, yeah.
they didn't have to use that footage. So he got that shirt on. He's getting
a
tall.
peep. Yeah.
I never peeped that
Me
jump.
neither.
So that's like, damn, how I ain't
But
peeped
we
that.
not like you said, like we home, we're watching it, and we're just like, like wow, like this is some dope shit. But then when you really see what's going on behind the scenes and what they all had to go through, like, and he said he didn't even want to do it for real.
Yeah.
He was like, Will just kept saying like, come on, man, like just come on the show, like, whatever. So
And just as, Jazz talked about leaving and, just all in all, they all said, yo, we've been doing this for 6 years. You know what it's like to just find, like, we're not going to be together tomorrow. And how sad it was for them to see the set get taken down. And then Jazz just said, I did my last scene. I didn't even wait around. I just got in the car, drove off, got on the plane because he didn't want to
Nigga,
even
that
like
shit
face
had
that
me
shit.
like,
Yo.
I had to go get tissue like twice, nigga. Like, yo, I went and got tissue the first time. I forget what it was. Maybe it was the when they did the Uncle Phil joint. Because that was like real emotional, and I was just like, damn, because I'm watching they great times. I'm watching them create memories. And then you obviously got to watch, when he wasn't with him and they was there just watching his clips. And that was emotional. And I think I had to just damp shit up, get shit right a little bit.
gotta get up in there.
Yeah. And then I thought it was really like, all right, Rich, that's it. That was the moment, And then like later on when they went back into like the Aunt Viv shit, again, with like the first original Aunt Viv when she came out. And just to see, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember her. I remember her being part of the show before the new Aunt Viv came
I
out.
actually remember her more to be
right.
More
honest.
than- yeah.
And I felt
me
bad.
too.
I felt bad, and I felt like Will's done so much amazing stuff for people that I know that it bothered. Like, Will Smith, and that it bothered him that he knows that he played a part in her being basically blackballed. And for her to be blackballed for 27 years and probably to watch him rising and just going on and you sitting there, because no way you go from the mom on this incredibly big show to nothing, to like not getting roles, it's obviously something there. And I was just glad to see that they could come there and patch it up. People get older, man. We don't know when we're going to go. And imagine having to carry that around. And if that woman would have passed or him or whatever, and you never had that.
Never got to talk.
Yeah. So just seeing them do that was wonderful. So I wanted to end that on Black excellence that we see. Let's try to pay attention to those things more than the negative shit. Please. Man, if you see yourself about to just type of like a fucking ignorant comment, really think about, do you want to be that person? Because you might feel like your comment is nothing, but you're actually in an army of devilish activity. It's you putting that one plus the other dude putting that one, and now there's 1,000
And then
comments.
people piggyback off of what you say.
Yeah,
they
it's
might
like-
not even agree, but see and be like, oh
Not
yeah,
only
he right.
that, but- Go ahead.
No.
Not only that, I was just gonna say, man, before we get out of here, man, again, man, all of it, the Black excellence, the music shit, like, it's all entertainment, man. And we gotta really like stop tearing up our own shit. We gotta stop picking and choosing, because I'm gonna state something that's a stone cold fact, right? When rappers win, once they become successful, whether he was living what he say he was living or not, or regardless if you find out he was an actor the whole time or not, niggas turn they cheek and they don't say nothing about a nigga no more. And everybody will fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know, like, shout out to Drake. I love Drake. And I ain't got no problem with it. But everybody know that Drake came from like Nickelodeon, acting, Degrassi, good, and he's probably a great person. Great person. And I know that a lot of you street dudes who talk this killer, gotta be killers, everything gotta be killer. You would love to sit with Drake.
But but as a regular human being, he's a lame to me. He's this or that.
Right.
Even y'all basketball stars, you fuck with LeBron James, but you wouldn't fuck with a nigga that was that good-hearted and just a stand-up man. You fuck with Kobe Bryant, but these was niggas that you say is a real nigga, and they niggas that they the niggas that would have went to work.
Come on.
They them types of, this is just
But Rose talked about working. Rose talked about
sure
roofing.
did.
Rose talked about
he got
different
condemned.
jobs.
He got condemned. So please be
Like,
mindful,
come
y'all.
on.
Like I said, we
Come
will
on.
be back on Saturday. There will not be an episode on Tuesday. And know that the current episode 57, is out right now
Go check
of
that
us in a
out.
regular set. Make sure y'all go in there and yeah, we're gonna drop this on y'all soon. For myself, for motherfucking the Thurman Street Pumper,
Peace.
for Waleska D,
Peace, my people.
and for Chelsea Lee.
Bye, gorgeous people.
This has been the Devinwade Show. We out, y'all. Peace.